Hi, I'm Tisha.
I'm Lauren.
And this is the Open Booked Podcast. Today we are in our third episode, and we are going to talk about A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in the ACOTAR series. But first, let's talk about what we're reading. What are you reading right now?
I am in the third, Crescent City, which is the newest one, just came out this year. Recovering from a book 2 cliffhanger, so really liking that series. So yeah, that's the current read. What about you?
I am reading All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, Doerr, Doerr. I'm not sure. Sorry if I'm butchering that, but I'm just starting it, so no real opinions yet.
We can discuss that next time.
Yeah. All right. So, if you've not read any of the ACOTAR series and plan on reading it, just forewarning, kind of from this point forward, there are going to be spoilers. So if you don't want those, definitely stop here. Maybe go back to the previous episode if you have read that one and have not started Mist and Fury yet.
Okay.
All right.
Should we dive in?
I guess so.
So the first question always is going to be, one, did you enjoy it? And your rating on a 5-star. 1 to 5 stars.
I did enjoy it. I think this was kind of where I really started to get into it, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this now.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 5, I think it's a 5. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I definitely give this is my favorite book in the whole series. Not spoiling anything. This is just my personal favorite. Also a 5. Absolutely loved this book.
Good. Yeah. Love it.
Okay, should we jump into questions?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so how do you think the world building changed from the first book to the second book? Because it's kind of a different vibe, but we're also still building because there's a lot of world, obviously, in this universe.
Yeah. It's still very heavy in the world building, just because she's kind of in a new world. Like, she is. I mean, they're out from under the mountain, so they're back and trying to create a life together, essentially, and it's still heavy, but also just a lot more interesting. I'm not trying to make my own little mental checklist of all of the characters. Who's this and what do they do and where do they tie into this person, or how does all of that work? So it's a little more established, but still adding new things.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think we're seeing a whole new territory, obviously, with Rhysand literally scooping her up in her wedding dress. By the way, the reaction, what are you wearing? Yeah. Dead. So I think we're seeing more of Night Court, eventually Valaris, getting a whole new world actually built. So, and even Windhaven, I think, at the end, chapter 55, if you know, you know. So I think, or that maybe that's just the cabin in the mountains. I think it's by Windhaven, right? The Illyrian camp. I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Teresa's mom's house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're still obviously building and learning, and I think with fantasy, you kind of always are. Mm-hmm. So, I've said this before, the imagination, great job.
Yeah, she's very talented.
Yes. So, what do you think about Feyre's character development from the end of the first book to where we first meet her again, which is technically 3 months later, at the beginning of A Court of Mist and Fury? So how do you think she's changed?
For one, she's older. Two, she's still trying to figure out who she is as a new immortal.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot to put on a person to realize they're gonna live forever. Like, barring some crazy incident, like, you're just gonna keep living, and that's a lot to swallow. Like, I couldn't imagine going from a 19-year-old, still illiterate. Well, she's becoming more literate.
Thanks to Reese.
Yes. But just trying to, plan a wedding and do all of these things and be this person that everyone thinks you are. Like, is it this one they start calling her curse breaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
yeah,
you have a whole new title, like,
mm-hmm.
Feyre curse breaker. Like, hearing that the first time, I was like, oh, that's intense. Like, that's a badge of
mm-hmm.
honor, but also, like, it's a lot of shoe to fill for a 19-year-old trying to figure out her relationship and if she even wants to be in it.
Yeah. I think the Fae switch on her aged her, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
It aged
maturity.
her. Maturity, yeah. Mental maturity, maybe. Maybe in everything she just went through. It's just wild to think that a few months prior to everything she went through, all she wanted was enough money to, like, paint.
Yeah.
That's all she wanted. She had no desire to be some wife of a high lord. She had no desire to even, like, they were terrified and hated the Fae, right?
Yeah.
So it's just the crazy switch even across these all these two books where she's gone from poor, hunting, providing for her family, to in love with a high lord,
mm-hmm.
to being stuck under a mountain doing trials, to breaking a curse that saves thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, probably safe to say, and then getting married. Also, fuck Ianthe. I mean, fuck Ianthe. Getting married, getting swooped away, being in some bargain at the beginning of this book we think is terrible.
Yeah.
And then we, obviously, this book, we all fall in love with the High Lord of the Night Court, right? So going from Tamlin to Rhysand and just comparing the two, it's the amount of growth that has happened just in these two books is nuts. Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of character development specifically for Feyre.
For sure.
Yeah.
And trying, like, because you still kind of think he's just a troll. Like, when he's trying to teach her to read,
mm-hmm.
he's like, Reese is the hottest.
Most handsome High Lord.
Yeah. Oh, that's your food.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a lot, and I just don't know. I know even being mature for my age, at that age, I don't think I could have handled it by any means. Like, that's just a lot to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, I think we need to take a moment to bitch about, I'm going to call him Tampon. And I think Tisha has her own name for him. Tantrum. Okay, I kind of had some red flags in the first book.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't do anything. Tisha mentioned this. I was containing my opinion until this episode because I didn't want to, like, completely spoil everything because this is a rant for me. Mm-hmm. But how he didn't do shit. And then the second he had a moment with her, he's, like, trying to get it on. Yeah. Instead of, like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Blah, blah, blah. It was more like,
let's get it on.
Let's go. And it rubbed me the wrong way. Like, she's literally a human almost dying for you, and you're going to be like, let's go in the closet. Like, no. So, how he doesn't notice that his fiance is puking her guts up every night, losing weight, not herself, struggling with these demons, which we were talking about, for a young girl to go through. Also, I love how we talk with these characters like they're real people.
Oh, yeah.
They are. They are.
Yeah. That's the point
That's
of the book.
Exactly.
You create them in your mind, and they live with you.
Yeah. So I just think that this solidified my red flags as tampon has to go. And I think we got to see the true character of Rhysand in this book. Which honestly, in the first book, I didn't hate him.
No.
I felt like he was a troll, but I think I said this, I kind of like a character like that to spice things up. But I never felt like he ever would have hurt her or put her in any sort of dangerous situation. I think that was obvious from the beginning. And even reading it the first time, I was like, why? What's in it for him here? Yeah. And then it all clicks in this book, obviously. But, at the time, you're wondering, does he have the hots for her? Does he need her for some, top secret night court thing?
Revenge or something?
Yeah, what's the point? I think we get the answer to that in this book. So that...
Yeah, it's a lot. And yeah, he shows his true colors. He's still, I felt a little leery to fully share everything with her. And then once it comes out, she's like, how dare you still keep secrets from me after I just left this other relationship that's
they kept everything from me. Yeah.
And literally locked me up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the locking up was the nail in the coffin for me.
Yeah.
That was absolutely insane. And the fact that even Lucian was I'm mad at Lucian still for how he handled this. I get it. Tamlin was his high lord, but him and Feyre are bros, is how I'm going to describe them. And he obviously wanted to help, but he didn't step up when the time was needed. He could have helped her 100 times, and didn't. And he saw what was going on, even though Tamlin was ignoring it. Just wanted her to be his little...
sex slave.
Exactly. And it just... yeah, it just really bothered me. So I'm very glad that we got to see both High Lords' true colors.
Yeah.
I think that was important, and that's the purpose of this book, I believe, to really show you who's who. Anyone can be anything for a short amount of time, but how you consistently carry yourself or handle situations or treat people really shows who you are.
Yeah. I mean, Tamlin's a typical narcissist. Love bomb, love bomb, love bomb, and then actually I need to control you. Let me reel this in a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of freedom, and then actually I'm going to lock you up.
Yeah.
So.
Because you're too precious. When she is more powerful than him, in my opinion. And I think he's scared of that.
Yeah.
That's my hot take on it. I think he's scared because she was made by 7 different High Lords, and he was made with one, and he can turn into a wolf. So I think, and obviously I don't think he knows the aspect of that, because when she's going back on her deal with Rhys, she is learning about those powers, and he's not telling anyone, obviously. I think they're trying to keep that on the DL, but I don't think Tamlin knew the extent of her powers in this book. No. I think he was scared of the thought of it.
He was, yeah. I think he had the idea that it was going to be dramatic, and it would definitely be able to overcome anything that he would throw at her. So he's like, let's just keep the lid on that for a little while, and we'll see how it plays out. And well, bruh, you lost out.
Yeah. Sucks to suck.
Snooze, you lose.
Yep. So what is your initial thoughts on the Night Court inner circle, Rhys's inner circle?
I was leery of Amryn to start. I was like, okay, Are they actually friends and like siblings, or is this like his girl that can't be his girl? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, because I mean, I've been in those relationships, and it's like, oh yeah, we're best friends, and that's not actually how it is. Like, she wants to get with him, and he's like oblivious, like most guys are to the girl on the sidelines. But yeah, I was leery, but kind of getting more into it, I was like, okay, it's like a family. Like, they look out for each other, and they are going to try to make each other the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
They can.
Like, call each other on their shit, which is like what a true friend does, right? And then, but also would do anything for each other. I was the same way. I was kind of leery at first, especially when they like threw her in first night in Valaris into like the dinner at the House of Wind. I was like, what is poor homegirl walking into? But they were all like so welcoming, and Moore just has like this, I just picture her like as a girl's girl. You know, like the most welcoming, hype you up kind of person. I feel like everyone needs someone like that in their life, and I just felt like Moore probably made it, because she'd already met her, had a little bit of a relationship with her. But, yeah, no, I thought the first dinner was really awkward. And then was really excited after that. I was like, this team is so much better than, like, such a great inner circle. And, like, how they have kept all of this secret. For hundreds of years was insane to me. But just shows the level of loyalty to their people and each other, that no one would ever, you know, let the cat out of the bag, per se. But I love the inner circle. That brings me to my next question. What the heck is Amryn?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't either. I have no idea. I think, I don't know. I just think that no one really knows. And obviously they even say it in the book that no one's asked her.
Yeah.
Like, everyone, even Reese is scared to ask her, like, what she is. She's like this mini, tiny death
Very
creature.
petite,
I don't know.
Just drinking goblets of blood, like,
yeah.
Okay. Because I think there was one instance where they like, okay, we need to secure everything, so Amryn's going to go out hunting. Yeah. And I was like, what is she hunting for? Why? And then like the people put like, what is it, sheep's blood out on there?
When they went to dinner. Yeah. I was like, first thought vampire, because I've read so much like vampire stuff over the years, and like big Vampire Diaries girly here. So I was like, vampire. But none of the other boxes check besides the immortality. So, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what she is. So, interesting dynamic to the team, though, when you have Cassian, general of all the armies, Azriel, Shadow Singer, Spy Master, Moore, Queen. I don't know what else to say about Moore.
Yeah.
Amryn, Mini Killer. And then the most powerful High Lord in history. It's like, what a team. You don't want to piss off that team.
It's like, can I be part of that gang?
You taking applications? So from the first book to the second book, did your favorite characters change?
Yeah, I think so. I think in the first one, my favorite was probably Feyre. But I'm really digging Reese in the second book. Like, he does have that like troll vibe, but also like he's doing everything he can to show her how a court should be. Like, the loyalty, the trying to help each other like grow and be more effective for the rest of their crew. Like, if she can learn how to use her powers and learn how to read, then she's more effective.
Yeah, I think that this book really, I don't know, I think this is where Feyre comes into her own, if that makes sense. I feel like we came into this book, she's dazed and confused, sick, and I think with the help of her mate, somebody on a Goodreads counted how many times the word mate was used in this book, and it's in the hundreds. So I'm going to use that term. And how he helped her through that when, honestly, I'm going to say it was very selfless, because he could have come in saying, you're my mate, you're coming with me, I'm taking you full time. Like, he could have handled it like an asshole, like Tamlin did in the first book, right? Because he could have done the same thing, and he could have had every right to, because technically that's his mate, right? Yeah. Like, I would think. But he didn't. He wanted her to fall in love with him naturally. And I feel like because of that, and just the real, like, raw, you always have a choice kind of support, she's really found herself after becoming Fae. Because I'm sure that was a transition. So I feel like she's come into her own. This is the Feyre we can expect. Like, this is who she is. That's how I kind of feel. Like, this book was really transitional for her.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite moment in the whole book? I know mine.
I can't remember like specific details. But is it when he says, like, he came and took you away? Does he say this one? Yeah. And she's like, the sun was shining when you took me.
The sun was shining when I left you.
Yes, like,
boom. Mic drop, like, bitch.
My favorite.
Yes, when you were in there with the king, right? And everyone's, fuck Tamlin again. So they're in there, and he says that swooped her away or whatever.
Yeah,
and
he's
she
like,
said,
he came in the dead of night and took you from me. And she's like, the sun was shining when I left you.
Yeah, and that letter she wrote, like
yeah. Suck it.
Yeah, asshole.
Yeah.
My favorite chapter 55, for obvious reasons. Don't think I need any more of an explanation there if you've read the book, but we love it. Bob Ross scenario. I read a review that was like, happy little trees indeed. And it cracked me up. So, I think that was, I think we talked about this, but like the turning, like Feyre accepted who she is at that point.
Yeah.
But can we talk about the ending? With the Tamlin betrayal. Are we surprised?
No.
My husband just read these. And at this point in the book, he texted me and said, or I came home, and he says, I have one thing to say to you. And I didn't even know he was reading them. And he said, fuck Tamlin. And I was like, what? So, thought that was hilarious. I think that encaptures how all of us felt.
Oh, for sure.
At the end of this book. So what do you think motivated Tamlin to do what he did? Do you think it was the betrayal of Feyre? Or do you think it was more like a pride thing against Rhysand because of their beef? Or what do you think? I think
it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like, he was trying to hurt Feyre to get her to come back to him, because that makes sense, right?
Main logic.
But he knew hurting Feyre would also hurt Rhysand. So he's like, 2 birds, 1 stone, and actually 3 birds, because then he's made Hybern happy. Like,
yeah,
it's all very ick.
it's giving ick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I think it's kind of a combination of both items. I think he has narcissist, we talked about that, tendencies, but he also has a stupid amount of pride, like thinking he's better than anyone else. And I'm sorry, shadows are better than flowers. Fight me. But like
actually, you're bottom tier.
Yeah, you're bottom tier. Rhysand, top tier. You're bottom tier. But just, I think he has beef with Rhysand as well. I think it's a huge jealousy because they've made it very clear, even in the first book and the second book, they say the Night Court does whatever they want. And it's like they're getting drunk at the bar in Valaris, dancing and being goofy. Like, but the world sees them as like this wild, do whatever they want, sadistic almost, I would think. But it's very clear that Rhysand is the most powerful High Lord in history. It's said multiple times, right? So he's like insanely powerful. So I'm sure as another High Lord, you have that sense of like, puff out your chest, you know, like he's not as powerful, and that's blatantly obvious that he can go swoop Feyre away once a month or whatever, and Tamlin can't do shit about it because it's Rhysand, right? He's just so much more powerful, and you can't break a deal, apparently.
Yeah.
But of all of the Fae abilities, which one would you pick?
Oh.
There's so many.
Ooh. Because I don't know, because not everybody can do everything. Like, some can and some can't. But out of any of them, I would winnow.
Ooh, yeah.
Because then you don't have to deal with the headache of travel. Like, you just pop up. Like,
let's go get a croissant.
Like, I'm here.
In Paris.
Yes. Let's get some beignets.
We're going to New Orleans. We're going to Italy for some pasta. Yes.
No passports, no long overlays, like, or overlays.
Same shit.
But, like, you don't have to deal with any of that. I'd winnow. 100%.
Winnow's great. I don't want the mind thing.
No.
I don't want to know what people think about me.
No.
I genuinely don't. I don't want to hear it.
Mm-mm.
I think Winnow's a good one. I would say flying. I don't want the wings, though.
Yeah.
I don't want the Illyrian wings.
Don't at me. The way.
I appreciate the Bat Boys, but, like, I feel like they're in the way. They're in the way. Like, Rhysand can, like, shapeshift his. I don't want to shapeshift either.
No.
I don't know. I kind of like... I'm going to have to steal yours and say winnow. Yeah. I just feel like it's the most useful.
Yeah.
And you can winnow other people. So let's say, like, one of us could winnow. We could winnow each other places.
Yeah.
It's just... I feel like it's the most useful of all the powers. I mean, the mind thing would probably be useful. I just can't take that.
No.
I can't take the criticism. Maybe I'll have to grow some thick skin when this podcast blows up and we get all the haters in the comments. But
yeah, I'm sure.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So what do you want to see? Obviously, we had a huge, like, ending at this book with the sisters. What do you want to see? Like, you're reading this for the first time. What would you want to see in the next book?
I would want to see, like, the consequences of that. Like...
Okay. For Tamlin? For the sisters?
All of them. Like, see how they're surviving after being turned Fae. And see how that plays out for Tamlin and the Cauldron and Hybern and, like, all of it. Because... like, they did it for a very specific reason, and it's like, okay, so what's next? What did you get out of that, really? Like...
yeah. Like, did that accomplish what you set it out to get it to accomplish? Like, what was going through your head?
Yeah. It's like, you really think that's going to get you Feyre back for good?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Try it.
Yeah. I don't understand his logic. I mean, and even Lucian letting him do that.
Ugh. Yeah.
Like,
that's awful.
We talked about this, like, we like Lucian. But I just feel like he could have done more. Like, to me, an innocent bystander that had an opportunity to stop something is almost as bad as the person actually doing it. Like...
But then his profession, right after?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew. I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about that. Lucian's mate? Little Miss Pris Elaine?
Yeah, like, how?
Elaine is engaged.
Yeah.
To a human.
Yeah.
She's now a fae. And has a mate on an opposing court to her sister.
Yeah, and just like Feyre had to figure out how to be fae and how to live her life moving forward, Elaine's going to have to do that. And so is Nesta, and it's gonna be hard. It's like just making all of those adjustments, and then you're engaged to a human, but then this guy's like, hey, actually we're mates, so we gotta figure out that relationship.
Hit you up later. Slide in my DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of big revelations in this book. I think some of them get missed because of the obvious Feyre Rhysand finally coming together, which the angst at the beginning of this book is top tier.
Oh yeah.
And like going when they went to to steal the book, the whole summer, that was great. By the way, that was great. Blood Ruby's hilarious. But the biggest revelation to me, I'm going to say, I saw the Feyre Rhysand coming from the beginning of the book. I did not see the sisters, Tamlin's betrayal. I'm not surprised about the betrayal. I'm surprised at what happened because of the betrayal. The two sisters. But then when Feyre pulls her little shit and comes out that she is the High Lady of the Night Court, I was like, Tamlin said that wasn't possible. Fuck you, Tamlin.
Yes.
Go off, Queen. Rhysand. Yes, we love you. That was kind of I guess there was some foreshadowing looking back now when she had that conversation with him about it, and he's like, there's no such thing as a High Lady. And you're like,
you sure about that?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
You sure about that? So yeah, that was I was excited to hear that. Because the first time reading, I genuinely thought she was acting alone, self-sacrificing. But it turns out her and Rhys had a good little plan. But still, I was shook my first read at that. For sure. Lots happened in this book. Lots to digest.
So much.
I'm going to say most of it good, besides the sisters. Obviously, that is not what Feyre wanted. Or them, because they are still Fae haters.
Yeah. Could you imagine becoming the thing that you hate the most? Like...
Yeah, I couldn't. Can't even fathom it. I'm sure the adjustment is, even if you wanted to become it, the adjustment is insane. So you're having to overcome mental hatred as well.
Yeah.
And then learning that everything you know about them is wrong. Like...
That's hard.
Yeah, like everything they think, like the first book, Feyre thought they couldn't lie. Remember? She thought they couldn't lie. They're all liars. Like, and they let her believe that. I'm like...
Yeah, because they kind of come out and they're like, actually, it's just a glimmer, and we were all wearing masks, and we were lying all the time. Yeah, like... So,
and the only thing that was, like, keeping her going at the beginning when she ended up in Prythian was, like, they can't lie to me.
She's like, let me ask all the questions and learn everything that I can about this place so that I can, make the best of this. And then they're like, actually, we've been lying this whole time.
Yeah.
Scratch all of that you thought you knew.
We're full of shit. Yeah, so that was interesting to think, like... Even thinking back on the first book, after reading the second one, you pick up some more things, like, especially about Tamlin. Like, the first few chapters of this book, you're, like, starting to realize, of the second book, you're starting to realize Tamlin's kind of a piece of shit. And then you're connecting the dots with everything from the first book, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, he's been a piece of shit. We
Yeah.
were just blind. We were under a glamour or
Yes.
whatever, because we just love a good romance. So we were rooting for the wrong guy because we didn't have all the facts.
'Cause
Okay.
It feels very Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
So all our 90s Disney kids are
Mhm.
very, kind of ingrained to, oh, we can save him. We love him and we can save him. We can make all of this better for him and come out happily ever after. And it's like, shit. That's not the case. And he's
Yeah.
a piece of shit.
This Belle can't read. She doesn't need the rolling.
Oh my god.
Well, she can now,
Yeah.
thanks to
Please.
the most handsome High Lord, the best High Lord. Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah. So lots there, lots to digest. Excited to see the second or in the third book how the news of, well, I mean, I guess we're going back to Spring Court now.
Mhm.
So to see how Feyre, I don't know how to put, fucks shit up,
Yeah.
and then how Tamlin reacts and how he treats her post influence he thinks she was under.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see if he changes or does better, makes an effort.
Mm-hmm.
If he just locks her somewhere. Also how Lucian goes, because I got the vibe at the end of this book that he wasn't buying it.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the whole Lane Lucian mate situation. And yeah, how it goes with the king. I mean, there's a lot that's set up in this book that's going to unfold in the third book. So there'll be even more to digest after that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I would really expect Lucian to try to flip the script on her and be like, yeah, I'm your friend, but also I'm a spy too. That's just where I would feel that was going.
I have a fox mask for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So excited to jump into that one next.
Yeah. Well, any other comments or anything on that one?
No, just loved it.
Yeah.
5 stars.
For sure.
Hard to top that one. All the bombshells and I love
it's
a book
twist and turn and twist and turn and holy crap.
We are on a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
I love a book that keeps me on my toes. So even if I absolutely hate the ending of something,
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't see it coming, it's getting 5 stars.
Yep. Love it.
Love it. I don't want to be able to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
if I can figure it out, it's not going to get 5 stars.
No. It's so predictable.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps up Book 2 in ACOTAR, A Court of Mist and Fury. We appreciate you listening to our hot takes. Be sure to subscribe and be the first to know about our next episode. And follow us on socials. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Open booked on all of the platforms. And we will talk to you guys next week.
See y'all next week. Bye.